Diolch yn fawr, thank you very much for the honour and the invitation to join you here today. And to our guests from across the globe, croeso I Gymru, welcome to Wales. Now Wales, of course, is a country that's renowned for its rugby, its singing, or maybe less proudly is the little white dot on the map next to England. Amongst many other things though, our gorgeous views, our mountains, our moorlands, but a home of course to sheep, to cattle and to many other diverse species. And I indeed feel very privileged to have been brought up on a family farm. A very different way of life, of course, to most of my school friends, but certainly one that I wouldn't change for the world. However, in looking to the future, I do worry that many of tomorrow's rural children may be deprived of that unique upbringing and those great experiences that I've really benefited so greatly from. Just during day-to-day life, really, in my upbringing in the beautiful Welsh countryside. Now, sustainable development is of course vital, change is vital, adaptation is vital, and investment is vital. But I do question whether the correct balance between town and city is currently being struck. Development and sustainable development in rural areas, I think, ladies and gentlemen, is equally as important as urban development. Because my favourite quote, as Abraham Lincoln once said, "If one day the cities disappear, the fields will survive. But if the fields disappear, the cities will not survive." And before we develop, we must really be able to sustain, and of course human life needs food to sustain it. And in looking into possible career paths in a sustainable future for myself, I'm sometimes forced to ask myself the question, can I follow in the footsteps of my ancestors? Can I carry my family's tradition on and become a food producer? Is there really a future for farming in Wales? And logically, of course, the answer must be that there has to be a future for farming in Wales and across the world. We have an ever-growing population that needs to be fed. However, for that future to be a sustainable one, I do think that things really need to change, because our young people are leaving the countryside in search of what is for them a viable future, and so they have to. The average age of a farmer is increasing and increasing, and family farms are disappearing. And to me, this really is worrying. On the face of it is the crucial issue that our young people really just can't enter an industry and take that risk of entering an industry that is so susceptible to things like disease, weather and bureaucracy. But I think as well that at its roots is the often ignored issue of rural poverty and rural isolation, and those additional challenges that come as a result of lack of transport, education, healthcare and connectivity, amongst other things. But of course agriculture is not alone. And we as young people, whatever our walks of life, are constantly under pressure and facing difficult and challenging decisions. Be those, for example, in finance, education, or simply in looking to secure a future that is viable and sustainable for us. And so despite the fact that in a world that's changing as rapidly as ours, forecasting is definitely difficult for the future, I do think that this forecasting is still key. And the youth of today must be at the heart of decisions made to benefit tomorrow. We're very fortunate in Wales of the emphasis already put on future generations, and I really look forward to seeing us really use the valuable tool of a Future Generations Commissioner to ensure that across the board, on our streets and in our fields, young people and the development of a sustainable future in the long term are put at the heart of decisions that are made in the short term. And that's really all I have to say, because I think my experiences of the field is really limited as compared to our fellow speakers. But as a young person, I think that's my view, and I hope this has come across. Thank you.